I'm going to update you on what the IOF is doing, and then in a separate video, I'm going to talk to you about the Israeli settlers, so please stick around. Let me give you a little bit of an overview. So this is the Gaza Strip, effectively what they call the open-air prison, in which they're dependent on their oppressor allowing access to food, resources, etc. This has been the focus since October 7th. They have effectively killed at least 41,000 Palestinians, injured at least 91,000 Palestinians, and have displaced 2.1 million Palestinians multiple times and effectively destroyed 90% of the buildings in Gaza. This is the West Bank, and it's managed by the Palestinian authorities, which my mutual effectively educated me that they're an extension of the Israeli government. In this area, they have killed 650 Palestinians. This is the open-air prison in which electricity is managed by the oppressor, access to water is managed by the oppressor, and IOF soldiers pee in that fucking water. In addition to that, this is where UNRWA provides access to food, etc. And on a regular basis, even prior to October 7th, the oppressor strategy is to vilify and call them a terrorist organization. And then the right-wing government says out loud that they want to remove UNRWA so that they can starve and kill all of those people more quickly. And so everybody focuses on these Hamas tunnels. Well, some of the tunnels were built by Israel. In addition to that, if you're someone being oppressed and you don't have access to resources, aren't you going to find another route to try and get them? The IOF has now established a presence at the Egypt-Palestine border. In addition to that, they have divided Gaza into north and south and set up a permanent corridor with checkpoints and an Israeli military right in the middle of Gaza. So the IOF is maintaining a presence here, killing Palestinians, and now they are establishing even more of a presence here because they're claiming that Iran has their weapons here. So this is where all of the Israeli settlers are, and I'll talk about their strategy, but I just want to point to you that at this location, the IOF is now bulldozing homes, infrastructure, streets, etc., and that there's an increased killing of Palestinians. I think in the last 24 hours, it said 18 Palestinians have been killed here. One of the past strategies has been to separate them and then break them again into 4 different concentration camps and effectively build settlements around them and let these rabid Israelis just ultimately kill all of them. So now I'm going to move on to my settler video. Let's talk about the Israeli settlers that steal land from Palestinians in the West Bank. For geographic context, the West Bank is right here, managed by the Palestinian Authority, and the occupation is all around them in the gray area. So you see all these rabid settlers taking land when in reality they're just Israelis taking land, and that they're supported by the government, nonprofits, internal and external entities, and receive money, drones, guns, you name it. And here's an example of a nonprofit. And what I've gathered is that these nonprofits focus on particular cities and particular resources to maintain their settlement in those areas. And so as you see an increase in activity here, these settlements are just going to be Israel. So here's one of the nonprofits that supports Israelis taking land, and they were founded in 2013, and their focus is on Judah as well as Samaria. And they ask for donations specifically because they're dealing with agricultural crime against Jewish nations' right to settle the land and develop this country and the agriculture of the land of Israel. So while I read you the marketing from this organization, I want you to think of all those videos in the West Bank of those rabid Israeli land grabs, because this is what it is. These programs include community projects, programs for teenagers and young adults, experiences and overnights on farms. Some of the programs are nationwide and promote new connections, while others emphasize the connection to specific locations. And if you want to see the programs, let's take a look at their interactive map. They literally post their illegal occupations on a map online. They're so confident that they will never, ever be charged with war crimes that they advertise it to get you to donate. Now, this is another nonprofit organization, and they focus on another area of the West Bank. And their goal is a volunteer recruitment organization dedicated to safeguarding the land and farmers in Negev, and Galilee, and upholding Zionist ideals on which Israel was founded. Not only do these organizations support existing illegal settlements, they also encourage you to create your own page to market your illegal settlement, and to join their team, and to donate, and to add them on all of these social media pages. And look at how much they've raised. They've exceeded their goal of $10 million. So let's talk about this well-crafted strategy and dynamic. You have the Israeli government that's a democracy, and they create space between them and the settlers by not describing them as actual Israelis. In addition to that, they say they don't condone what they're doing. However, the Minister of Security supplies them with drones, guns, and even utilizes the Israeli police to protect them, and even has Israeli police stop ambulances with injured Palestinians from going to the hospital, so those Palestinians in the West Bank die. And so you have these rabid Israeli land grabbers who are justifying what they're doing by pivoting between Zionism and Judaism. Judaism being that this is God's fulfillment by taking this land. Zionism by fulfilling the Zionist movement of making a Jewish state. And it all leads back to the same thing of taking all the land and justifying it no matter what. So when we look at settlers, they're just Israelis that are fulfilling the goals of the Israeli government, and they're the equivalent to the IOF, in which they murder, take land, murder, take land. It's all the fucking same thing, just different labels.